Well, hello, hotties. I am so excited today because we have the best guest. I have the pleasure of bringing on one of my wonderful Give Good Email businesses. I met Clementine from Goldie Lost in 2021. And I remember looking at her Instagram account, looking at everything that she did and just being so obsessed with it. And I was like, we need to have her in Give Good Email. And seeing her business and her brand grow, maybe you're familiar with it if you've checked out some of the Give Good Email case studies and how she has transformed her business from something that I found out in the podcast episode started on Facebook Marketplace to an international business with a huge team. And you know what? I'm not going to reveal anything else because what you need to do is listen to this episode. If you love it, and I know you do, make sure to let Clementine know, give her a follow, and hot stuff, you are in for a real treat today. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for our chat today. Beautiful Clementine Bastos. I had the pleasure of meeting you. I'd gone through my emails to see when we actually had met. I think you had come in, you bought Give Good Email. Actually, you didn't buy Give Good Email. You came to a free event that I was running and you'd come off a Facebook ad. Do you remember that? This is back in 2021.
I remember doing something first. It would have been a free something because I didn't spend any money on. I had no money in the business and I didn't spend any money on me learning anything like that. I did something free and loved it. The first time I thought, I want to buy that course. I'm going to buy it. And then I was like, it was around $2,000 or something. And I was like, oh, there's a lot of money for me right now, especially since, do I have the time to do it? What if I don't know how to do it? And then I was like, I'm going to spend that on an agency because I was dying at the time with emails. I had paid an agency to do, I think, my Facebook ads, and it was awful. Like, it was a big letdown. They didn't do anything. It was really expensive. So I was a bit wary of agencies, but I was looking again for an agency to do my email marketing. I got someone on Fiverr or something to make me some templates to use on my emails. And it wasn't $5. It was about $100 or something at the time. I thought, okay, I'll spend a bit of money and get someone to actually make the emails because I don't know how to make them look pretty. And what came back was terrible. So then I got someone else and then that was terrible. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to learn to do this myself. And then when I saw your course, I really liked the way you talked. I sort of went to that free thing. And I was like, oh my God, I just love her. I need to be part of this. So I just thought, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to learn myself. And it was the best thing.
I remember looking at your website and previously, it's so funny that my first clients, I feel like that they were all service-based businesses. And then when we did the ads, we had a whole influx of e-com come through. And that felt new. Like, it's something I've done before. Like, I had the DVD, I had e-commerce. And I remember when you had registered, I remember going to your website and I was like, this person has to join Give Good Email. It was so, and I remember following you up a couple of times because I was like, I believe so much in the product that you have. I think that this is really needed. And I loved everything about your brand. So this was a COVID business you started, wasn't it? You started in 2020. So let's go all the way back. Tell me, was it an idea or what was the process around like you starting Goldie Lost?
It wasn't really, I wanted it to be a business at the time. Like, I've done a degree in early education. I've been a teacher. I've run preschools. The role I was in at the moment was running preschools for refugee families. I was in charge of about 70 staff, 15 preschools. Loved it. I had the freedom. I had people I worked with. I really loved that job, but it was a 9 to 5. And I've always loved the idea of business. I was that kid washing apples on the farm and selling them at the front gate. Like, I love having something for somebody else in exchange for money. Like, I just love the whole idea that I created something from nothing really, and you love it. And it's that whole sort of come round circle. Whereas I think the 9 to 5 was always, I'm doing an amazing job, but you just got, do you know what I mean? Like, it was for always somebody else. So I always loved business and I'm always writing down little business ideas. And my first one actually was about, you're going to laugh at this, when I was about 22, I did a course and it said, look at a business which has a high markup you can get from China and mark it up with a high price. I got a friend to do the website and it was actually adult toys. So that was my first sort of step into business, having a website, online commerce. And I learned a lot, but I hated the business. Like, it actually would have done quite well, but I just hated the business. I felt embarrassed telling people. I didn't feel passionate about it. The emails I got were from creepy dudes. And I was just like, I hate my yucky business. But it was really good to learn about how to do a website, that sort of stuff. And then when COVID hit, I got stood down from my job, where obviously all the preschools shut down, things like that. They stopped bringing refugees into Australia. So there was a stand down period, and I was actually heavily pregnant at the time. So I went and had baby. And then, I don't know, sometimes after you have baby, there's this sort of manicness that, what can I do with myself? You know, you have this sort of sleep deprivation and you have all this energy. So, and my hair was falling out, like falling out everywhere. So I was quite stressed about that as well. So I looked into making wigs. I had been to all the wig shops, you know, since for 20 years. Me and my mum, we flew to Australia from New Zealand to do wig shopping. I bought from America. And what I'd bought was terrible. They were just wiggy, awful, ridiculously overpriced. And I just thought, I can't do that for the next 20 years. Like, I actually cannot go out in public wearing one of these things. And I was so down about it. I was always like researching, like all night, about till like midnight, researching better wigs, better wigs, better wigs. And then I started buying hair myself. There was a certain hair type I was looking for, and it was fine texture. So I started doing that. And then I started trying to find out how to get them made. So then I started working with a woman in China. She had worked with big factories before, and she said, why don't we sort of partner? I've got all the skills here. You've got the beautiful hair. Let's sort of partner and do something. So then that's sort of where it came from. At first, it was though for me. I actually just wanted to make decent wigs for me. And then I'd put them on Facebook Marketplace, and people would be like, gone. It would just be sold. And I'm like, that was unexpected. Somebody else out the world wants a wig. So then that sort of started ticking. And then I had an account on Instagram that I would just share my hair loss story. It was called Goldie_Lost. And I just shared my story. This is me. I'm Clementine. This is my hair loss. And, you know, I got a lot of people saying, where do you get your wigs from? Where do you get your wigs from? And it just sort of grew from there. You know, a lot of the videos back then, babies on the ground, he's crying, wriggling around. Me with sort of 2 wigs saying, oh, they're available if you want. Then people started saying sort of, I'd like to come and see them. I'm in Sydney. And I was like, oh, what do I do? Do people come to my house? So I'd say, oh, you can sort of come over at 3:00. When I'm at home, I've got a newborn. So people would pop in and we'd chat, and it was really cool. Like, at first I was like, I'm online only. I don't want to meet people. I'm an introvert. I don't want to talk to people. And now I really love that side of it. Like, people will come in and we share their stories. And I actually really love that side of it now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I love that you said that you sold on Facebook Marketplace. That's wonderful. So that was that 2020 or was that in 2021?
2020, I think. It was still pretty like me at home. The research side probably took 10 years.
I was going to say that. How long, like that feels, so it was 10 years.
That was about 10 years of finding a hair supplier, getting ripped off, scammed, losing money left, right and centre, trying to find how the whole wig world worked, how to make them buy the hair, that sort of thing. That was massive. That was about 10 years. And that was just purely personal. But it really cracked down when my hair started falling out after baby, that I need this now. And that's when I sort of started just buying sort of like few kilos of hair, getting them made into wigs. And then I would sort of have, you know, a few. And that's when I'd be like, oh, that one's too blonde for me. I'm not, that hair I don't like. Facebook Marketplace. And then, yeah, I was just surprised that there were other people. I didn't think of it as a business because I didn't think people wore wigs. Like, I just thought the market there would be so small because you don't realize other people are wearing them. Well, you sort of have a business and, you know, I'm sold out and I've got all these followers, and you think, well, there's millions of people everywhere wearing wigs. I just didn't know.
So what was the turning point then? So do you think it was seeing all of the people in the marketplace being like, oh, okay, cool. I actually think that there's something here.
Yeah, it was Facebook Marketplace. When it, you know, I put it on there and I thought it would just sit there forever and I'd have to sell it for like $50 or something just to get rid of them, even though they were worth a lot of money. And within sort of 10 minutes of it being on there, someone will message me, oh my God, you have this in brown. And I'd be like, I could make one in brown, actually. So it was sort of that, yeah, people out there wanted them.
So when did you get your first website? Because you had in 2020 in 2021, which is when we met, you had a website. So that was all done. You had an established brand. You had a great, I can't remember the exact number, but you had a lot of followers on Instagram as well. Like you, yeah.
2020 was probably me just in my bedroom. This is what I got. Probably 2021, I got my first website. It was pretty basic. And I got a girl off, there's a Facebook group for business girls, like-minded bitches drinking wine. So I was in that group and I just said, look, I'm looking for a website. And the girl said, I'll make you one. It was really basic, but it was pretty. It didn't do much, you know, it sort of had the 3 products on there and a landing page, and that was about it. And she was incredible. And so that was my first sort of website where people could actually go and buy as opposed to through Facebook Marketplace or coming here. But then I started an Instagram and doing my little reels and lives on there. And I did a challenge on there. I said, look, I have to make one reel a day. Doesn't matter if it does well, it doesn't do well. I have to put something on there every single day. So that's, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know what to do. And I don't want to put my face on there. I was just like, do you know what? Baby's asleep. Make something. Doesn't matter if it's good. Just stick it up.
Yeah.
And that really got a couple that went viral. They got sort of 5 million views. And that really, suddenly I got a lot of followers from just a couple of reels that did well. And they weren't even good ones. They were pretty took 2 minutes to make. And they were the ones that went well.
I don't know if you know this. I used to have a Pilates studio, and most of my clients, I would say 80% of my clients were mums, and they were the best clients because you tell them to do something and they would always find the time, and they were so good at utilizing pockets of time and just getting things done.
Yeah.
And that's obviously worked so well for you where you're like, I have to do this. I've got a limited amount of time. I've got to get this done. And I think also when you have an e-commerce business, you have the stock. It's like you pay all of this money, you outlay it on stock, and then you have to sell. So how did you navigate, I think, the early stages of getting these manufactured, especially when you feel like that you were selling them so quickly on Marketplace and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to order more. We've got more people now that want different colors, different styles. What did that look like to kind of go through that next stage of getting all that stock?
It was scary. I remember getting I think it was about $5,000 worth of hair. So hair it's expensive and it's by the kilo. So it was, I remember being like, and my husband didn't really, so I was sort of doing this on the side because I wanted it for me. So I just sort of be like, oh, just take a little bit of money and just buy some and see what happens. So without it looking like it was going anywhere, I didn't want to feel like I'm not working at the moment. I'm at home with baby. He's working to support us. And here I am just blowing cash on something that's not even a business. It might actually just be $5,000 thrown in the rubbish bin. There was no proof that it was actually going to do anything. So I remember my first order, that $5,000 was scary. Do you know what I mean? That it might just be $5,000 in the rubbish. Whereas now my hair orders are, 150,000 at a time, multiple times a year. So it was, and I don't think that feeling ever goes away because as you sell more, that next jump just goes bigger. There's always that fear that people won't like this color, these lengths, that you're going to have all this amount of stock and no one's buying it. So I actually feel the same. Every time there's a big increment, it just, all that money goes back. When we have profit, it just goes back into another big stock order. So I think, that feeling of, okay, I'm just taking a leap of faith here. That never actually goes away. It just gets bigger and bigger amounts.
Well, that's what they always say. It's like new level, new devil.
Yeah.
And it's so true. And I think you have to, I take my hat off to you that you were doing this. $5,000 is a big outlay and really backing yourself. Was there ever a point where you were like, no, I'm not going to do it? Or were you just like, I'm going to make this work?
I was going to make it work.
Why?
I didn't actually ever think I'm going to have this really, I don't know. It never felt like a business. It just felt like it organically grew. Okay, those few sold. Okay, I'm going to get some more. What happens if that doesn't work? It was just like, okay, we'll try a bigger amount and see what happens. But the plan was always to go back to my job. It wasn't ever, it was just, this was organically growing and it was a sort of beast of its own. But there was never this thinking, right, I'm going to leave my job. This is my new career. It was like, this might be a little fun side hobby. I might make a little bit on the side to cover the costs of sort of what it does to pay back the hair costs and the making costs and that. And it might just do that and a little bit extra and that'll be fun. But I'm going back to my job. When I met you in 2021, I went back to my job and then I got pregnant again. And then I was toddler, heavily pregnant. When I get pregnant, I'm one of those people who are just unfunctionably unwell. It was a really high risk pregnancy. We were told he probably wouldn't come the entire pregnancy. So it was really stressful. I was crying all the time. And then I had the business. So that was the point where I think my husband was the one who said, you actually need to choose. You need to choose something here. The business, it's okay. It's a little business. It could be something. It could not be. But you either need to leave it or you need to leave the job. And he said, you know what? I'm going to back you. I recommend you leave the job. I was like, but I love that job. I work so hard. He was like, you can be at home with the babies, rest, look after yourself, focus on this little business. It could become something. And I was like, you know what? So I remember being so stressed about it for like 2 weeks. Do I really leave my job? And then I resigned. And it was the best thing I ever did. I could just be at home with baby, be at home resting, looking after baby in the tummy and doing the business. And yeah, it was such the best decision.
Do you remember when you resigned? Like what month that was?
Yeah, halfway through 2022.
Okay, cool. And your business, like in that time, that was growing quite well. So you held your job for a while whilst you were still building this.
Yeah. The maternity leave gave me the freedom, actually, of first baby. That maternity leave, without having that, I wouldn't have actually been able to do the business. Do you know what I mean? It just gave me like a year of, I've got all this time. Yes, newborns and babies are hard and they're busy, but I just had time where I could think and do things. Whereas I was always working long hours, stressful jobs. So I never had the creative space to look at even doing a business. Whereas this just allowed a little bit of that. I guess a lot of people don't have that freedom of just having a little bit of time to look at their lives and what they want to do and how that could look.
Yeah, because I remember, I think when you had joined Give Good Email, you came to a call and you're like, yeah, I've got a baby. Yeah, I'm pregnant. Yeah, I'm doing all of this. But what I loved is you made it work. So you would come to the calls and you were like, I don't know when I'm going to give birth, but it's going to be soon. I need to send an email. What should I send? And you would just ask on the call. And you were so great because you were like, cool, tell me what to do. I'll go do it. Tell me what to do. I'll go do it. And I think where your business, I think, has been so successful is a lot of people will sit on their ideas. And I think that they wait until they get like 100% data of like, yes, this is a good move. Where I think for you, it was kind of like just seeing like a little light ahead and being like, okay, cool, this is like the next step. This is where I need to go. This is what I need to do. When we look back to like, you've ordered the $5,000 and then you've sold it, like what was that process looking like? Do you remember how long it took you to sold that initial like order that you put in?
It was quick. It was quick.
What's quick? Like a month, a week?
Probably, yeah, sort of 2 weeks maybe. And then that was a big decider, I think. I had got a few and it just wasn't a random piece here, a random piece there.
Mm-hmm.
It was, okay, now you've got quite a few and they're gone. So that was like, oh, actually now I can do a bigger order. Yeah.
How did you work out then? Because I feel like it's so funny. I feel like I'm a creative person, but if you were like design a wig, I would be like, oh shit, I have no idea. Like, did you find that was challenging in working out how they needed to look?
I think because I knew what I wanted, like in my head, I was like, why can't it be like this? This is what I want. And then when I had ordered from most of the big companies that were in the world, spent a lot of money. And there were things, this one, I liked this about this one, but the rest I didn't like. Or this one, I liked that part, but I didn't like the rest there. So the main thing was getting the hair. The hair on the market was Asian hair. It was thick, it was strong, it was heavy. And on me, that was just like, I'm 5'2". I'm like 50 kilos or something. So it just swamped me and it looked heavy and horrible. So the first part was getting the hair. And that actually came a bit of a stroke of luck, is that my husband was Brazilian. So I had tried getting hair from Russia, just non-doable. They just will keep your money. They don't do PayPal. They'll send you lies. Like that was just so difficult navigating the hair world through there. Through Asia, it was sold as European hair, sold as this hair. It was all Asian hair. So it was actually that my husband was talking to his brother, who was like, actually, there's a big hair market here in Brazil. Why can't you source the hair here? Like we've actually got, German background, Portuguese background, Spanish background, like any sort of hair you could possibly want, you could get it here. So that's when we sort of started looking into that. And that was just sort of the universe, I think, lining up a little bit. So yeah, and then it was the construction, but really it was just me buying, changing that, think about this, I don't like this, I do like that. And it was really a personal, this is what I want, and probably someone else wants it.
And you would have people, because you're in Sydney, you had people come to your home, didn't you?
Yeah. And it was always so awkward because I didn't have anything. Like I remember a girl came and I had 2 toppers, like the little half wigs. I had 2. So she was like, oh, I saw a marketplace. You've got this black topper and can I try it? And I was like, not really. I don't have a shop. She was like, well, can I come to where you are? I was like, it's my house. She's like, that's okay. Can me and my husband come just pop by? And I was like, yeah, I guess so. But yeah, you can come to my house. So they come over. I've got baby and baby cried the entire time. She's like, don't worry about it. I've got 2 kids at home. So I've got baby like this. She's trying on this thing. It was just funny, like, but it was really awkward. Like, this is not a professional shop at all, you know?
Yeah.
And I said, I've got a blonde one or a black one. Which one do you want? So she said, I want the black one. Perfect. So then more and more people sort of started messaging through Facebook about, I wouldn't buy it without trying it on. So can I possibly come round? Sometimes people would bring their kids. So my kid, you know, my baby's there. Their baby's watching TV and playing in the lounge. And we would do the consult like that. So yeah, it was really not. I think if I had actually said, I want to have a wig business, I wouldn't have even started because I would have said, right, I have to have a product. I have to have a shop. I have to have a beautiful website. I have to be all set up. I'm that sort of person. I'm all the ducks need to be in a row. So I would never have got started. It was just the fact that people said, can I do this? I was like, oh, look, yeah, I guess so. It happens. Just went with it. You know what I mean? I didn't think, oh my God, that's so unprofessional. What brand damage is that doing by having people over here and my baby crying? I just had to do what I had to do.
But I think it's just so nice to buy from someone like that because you're a real person. And I think, you know, I've listened to so many podcasts before, especially of e-commerce businesses and brands, of people that have capitalized on women's insecurities. Like I remember listening to, I can't even remember what product it was, and it was men. And they're like, oh yeah, we sold to women because we know that they like this. And there was no heart, there was no soul. And it was really interesting what had come on social media after that of people who were like, I don't want to support their business because they're capitalizing on women's insecurities. And I think now, especially with a lot of e-commerce brands where people are like, they're just drop shipping, they don't know what they're going to buy. And I think it's nice when you have started your business with such a strong founder's story and being so vulnerable for something that can be like just awful to experience around hair loss and the shame that people carry with that. So I think the fact that you just have this beautiful business that makes people feel so comfortable, like I think that this has why, especially online, on social media. It's like you do this privately in your home, but you also do this so publicly on social media. And, you know, I can see exactly why you've done so well in your business. And you've done so well that you've expanded. You're not just in your home anymore, are you?
No, I've got a shop. The shop is for
Yeah.
from my home, so I can pop in. That's something I also have always really loved about having business is I can incorporate family. Do you know, my husband now, he left financial markets, now come on board. He'll die. He's actually doing the emails.
I was gonna say, you told me this. You were like, so my husband's doing the emails and he loves it and he's doing really well.
Like his finance numbers, Excel spreadsheets. And then he was like, oh, you know, he had a terrible time after COVID at his job. And I was like, why don't you come help? I need help. And then he was like, I'm going to. And then I was like, what's he going to do? The first few weeks he'd be in the office in the morning and be like, so what's my jobs today? And I was like, I don't know. Like, you can't do social media. You can't reply to people. You can't talk to the woman. I'm not sure what I'm actually going to do with you. He's like, oh, I'll send out some emails. I was like, you know, they have to look nice. And he's like, I can make them look nice. And I was like, no, like pink. They have to be like pink and like pretty. And he was like, well, you write it. I'll do it. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so bad. And he did the first one, I think, in Canva, and it was way better than what I was doing. You know, he had like all the fonts matched and all the colors matched. And he was like, what do you think? I was like, yeah, you're on. That's your new role. And he takes it so seriously, the emails. He sends 3 a week and he researches topics. I always do the writing for them, but he researches topics I could talk about. You make sure I'm like, oh, I'll just copy it. He's like, that photo doesn't match. That font doesn't match. That doesn't know. That picture doesn't go there. And he's loves it. He loves looking at the open rates. He loves looking at how well he goes, oh, I just got a response to my email. Catherine just said that she found that so helpful. Isn't that sweet? He sends me screenshots and he's like full into it. It's really nice. But he's found this creative, you know, him and Canva are like best friends and he's always in there making pretty pictures and this and that. So he's found this whole creative side that we both didn't know.
I love that because I know when you would say this to me, you're like, my husband's actually doing the emails now and he's doing really well. And you'd shared with me at the time, like where you, like your email revenue and then what it had gone to. And it's so funny because I sometimes will think, oh yeah, I feel like if someone becomes a client, this is what I think that they'll do. This is how much I think that they could make. And when you told me, I was like, oh my gosh, like you're doing so well. And I think too, where he's great at this, as you think about it, so much of email is like numbers, it's analytics, it's looking at trends, it's seeing, oh, okay, cool. If we send like an email at this time, this we've noticed within this segment, this is doing well and we're going to get this. So what we can do now next time is let's just change this and we know that we're going to get this result. So, and I think that that's where his background has come in so well with these emails. And they, like purely, I think you were saying with that and the ads revenue, that was one of the big things that really helped you scale the business because you're also international.
So we opened a shop in Miami, and that is because like 70% of our market is in the USA. So I feel lucky with my business in that the product is good. I guess we love it so much. And I guess that does come across. So people, when they find us, they buy from us. There's not a sales pitch. We don't have to push anybody into it. Do you know what I mean? They come across my Instagram. They're like, I've seen every single one of your videos. I'm obsessed. I've been on your website. I've done a video chat. Oh my God, I just love everything about your business and I want to buy. And people will buy and they won't leave. So we've got people on their 15th wig. They're just, I'm so happy I found you, you changed my life and I'm with you for life. Like I am here forever. So I think that's made it really easy for us is we haven't had to track things so much, even our Facebook ads and things like that. It's just, I don't have to, what could I tweak here? How could I sell more? It's just, okay, I just talked on a video and said, this is a wig. I wear wigs. And if you wear wigs too, then come be friends. Do you know what I mean? And it's just organically gone somewhere. And I think women who buy wigs, they've been tricked before. When I first went and bought wigs, they were so nasty and kind of just lies. The whole industry was full of lies. It was, oh, it's European hair, it's the best. And I go back to these wig shops now and I'm like, that's such a lie. It's not European hair. It's not virgin hair. It's rubbish hair. And you were telling me 5 years ago that was top quality, beautiful, blah, blah. So I think so many women are just constantly lied to in the wig industry that they just feel like just deflated. And if you lose your hair, was my main thing, to be honest, is if you lose your hair, that sucks. Go and get a nice wig. They just didn't exist. Or someone took advantage of you and scammed you. So now not only do you have no hair and you don't want to leave the house, you also have a wig you spent $5,000 on, which you don't have the money, and it's sitting in a drawer and you still don't want to leave the house. Like that was more bitter disappointment for me, I think. Spending money on something and being scammed and just going in the rubbish. I remember crying in a ball in bed and just being like, I just got tricked out of it. It was like $3,000, I think, at the time. And being like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm just going to have to wear this hair out and just be a miserable person because I don't want to go to weddings. I don't want to go to my friends' parties. I'm just not going to leave the house because I'm not wearing that and I'm not wearing this. And that were my two options. So most women I see are in that place, just a place of, I don't know what to do. So yeah, for us just to come and be like, do you know what? I know, I understand. I completely understand that feeling.
I think that's something you do really well on social media. And I think this is where when you're like, we haven't tried to reverse engineer stuff with numbers. We haven't tried to do that. I think something that you do phenomenally well, because this is just such like an innate part of you, is there's so much heart in what you do. Like you can tell straight away that you actually care about people. Even if someone, and I know people now listening that will listen to this episode, even if they don't look yet at your website, they will be able to get a sense straight away of the brand and the product and the quality of the product just based on how good of an advocate you are for your own business. And you think about it, like you said 10 years worth of like research and development that actually went into this. And I remember when I was doing my like little pre-stalk of you becoming my customer, because I was like, this is going to happen. It's a matter of time. And I was looking at all of your Instagram content and your reels, and you were so consistent. Like you just showed up and you were so consistent with everything that you did. And again, that sense of vulnerability that came through with your content, but not from this place of, I'm going to share this and share like a sob story so you buy. It just felt like just this very authentic part of you and how you shared it. Everything was really authentic, but you made it feel like I think something you do well is your content is really positive.
I think I try, like, it's not, oh, poor us, we have hair loss. Like, it's just hair is just a part. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty devastating watching it come out of the shower like that, but I can still have a life. I can still have a husband who loves me, and I still have beautiful children. I still have friends and a beautiful life. So it's not like it's ruined my life, but it's just a thing that is there. Do you know what I mean? That you think about and obsess about, and you worry how I can fix it. And there just wasn't much solutions. And in the hair loss world, it's so snake oily. You know, as soon as you look up a wig or hair loss, you'll just get your Facebook ads will just smash you with hair growth cures. Then you'll go to your doctor, and your doctor will say, well, it's not life-threatening, so take some minoxidil. And then you feel all like, oh, they didn't even listen to me. But they don't have an answer. There's no cure for it. So you're a bit stuck in this place of, well, what do I do? So you try all the cures, and you have all this hope, and it just goes nowhere. So, and then you think, a wig? I remember thinking, you know, my mum was like, why don't you get a wig? I was like, are you joking? A wig? A wig? Like, who wears a wig? And she was just like, oh, I think they're getting better these days. And I just thought, like a big helmet on my head, so everyone sort of looks at me. So wig just wasn't even in my brain then. I was so obsessive with getting my own hair back. And then I think, yeah, when I just sort of started sharing my stories it was really to help the younger me, I guess, on Instagram. This is what my hair looks like, you know. There's girls around who are getting hair, and this is what my hair looks like. And I see a lot of that on TikTok now. It's like girl doing hairstyles with her thin hair. And she's like, thin hair girlies, this is my hair. And she's got thousands of comments, and people like, oh my God, my hair looks just like that. Whereas before, people didn't show that. They didn't say, I have thin hair, or I have hair loss, or this is what alopecia looks like. They hid it. Or social media didn't really exist. So you just thought, no one else is going through this. And now there's whole communities, you can go on a hair loss retreat. You know what I mean? You can actually go on a hair loss retreat and have an amazing time and meet other women with hair loss. We run free hair loss meetups. We go to pubs, and women all around Sydney, they come, and some people come bald, some people come with their little patch, some people wear their top or their wig. We have some drinks. It's great. Make a community out of it. Yeah. So it doesn't feel like poor me, just me. There's a whole lot of women going through this. You don't have to be trapped. I'll wear my crappy hair most of my life, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, I get around like that, and I don't care. If I want to look nice, I have the option. That's the main thing for me.
Yeah, I love that. Well, it's I don't know if you can see here. So my hair started falling out. Look at this. So, and I look really fluffy, and I am like, it just kept coming out, and it turns out I was really anemic, and I didn't realize that affects your hair. And my first thought was, when it just was coming, it was just like literally falling out. And I could even feel it. Like, I've always had thick hair, but I was like, oh my gosh, it feels so like I've lost so much, but it's also snapping. So it's like the hair that I have is not even healthy. And I remember my first thought was, don't stress. Clementine will fix you. And I was like, I will fly up to Sydney and I will buy a topper. And I remember feeling like so at ease. Because I had just seen your content and how you spoke about this, and just literally being educated by just following you and reading all of this and watching it and thinking, nah, you know, if this happens, you're going to be fine. Like, you are connected with the best person to solve this. So I've got a question then, because we were talking about people coming in and visiting. How did you scale to America if you're based in Australia? Like, what did the process of like opening in, you're in Miami, aren't you? Yeah. What did the process of that look like?
So that was a lot of my husband, Roberto. So I'm a people person. I just like meeting people, talking about hair, helping people. Like, I'm all about that. In fact, more so, like, we're starting a charity, which is my heart is in at the moment. And that is going, because these products are expensive. So I want to have a charity where we can actually help people who can't afford them, don't have the funds to, don't have access, all of that sort of thing. So that's a big project that I've got going on at the moment. And I would probably just tick along like this. I would have our shop would probably get bigger. I'd have more staff, and that would be sort of how I'd tick along. But America, so many of them, you know, 70% around, probably 75% of our sales, online sales, were all just US, US, US. And so we did a pop-up there. We did a pop-up in Florida, and it was 2 days. So we flew there, had all the wigs, and it was really busy. And people were like, open a shop. And then my husband was like, I'm going to open a store in America. I was like, what? How does that even work? Like, what? How will we manage it? You know? And he was just like, it'll be easy. We'll just get some nice staff there. And I was like, what nice staff? And I actually had 2 people I was already talking to on Instagram. So they're hair loss girls, they wear wigs and they have accounts. And they were both in Florida. And so we got them to work at the pop-up for us. So then they just came in, worked for us for the day, and it was amazing. And then, we sort of said, well, do you want to work if we had a shop here? And they were like, yeah. So that was the staff done. My husband actually flew there and set up all the shop. I had nothing to do with it. I was just like, do you know what? I've got a new baby and another one and the shop here. He's like, I'll just fly a couple of days, renovate all the shop and do that. And now we go over sort of once a year, and probably every 6 months and check on the store there. But we do calls each week with them. We get all the stock to come here and we send it over to them. They just say, look, we're short on this, we want that. They do their video consults just like we would. They have the in-person consults. It's not that easy with sort of things, getting staff who can do haircuts, just basic stuff is harder.
Yeah.
And not being there. Often people are like, oh, but I want to talk to Clementine. They've seen me on the videos. So moving away from that has been quite hard. You'll actually been seeing a consultant, one of our other wig people, but don't worry, they're amazing. That has been a little bit of a challenge, I guess. But to be honest, it was quite easy. We just
Wait, was it?
2 years ago, a year and a half ago. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We did a pop-up in Texas. That was massive. My husband wants to open a shop there. I'm just like, oh. And they just did a pop-up. They're there now in Atlanta. And this time I said, I'm not coming. I did 4 long-haul flights with 2 kids this year. So he was like, we need to do another pop-up. It's so amazing. It's great. It's fun. Get our brand out there in America. And I'm like, no. So it was a scary one to do the first pop-up without me. Like, my husband was like, we can't do a pop-up without you. Like, we just can't. And I was like, why not, actually? You know how to do all of the back-end stuff. The girls know how to see clients. They know the products. Why do I actually have to be there? And my son just had surgery on his ears, so I wasn't actually able to fly. Yeah, we flew one of our staff from Sydney, our hairstylist. We threw the girls from Miami. They went, and it was amazing, 2 days. So it's opened another door that actually we can do pop-ups there without me. Just those little things. They always seem real scary at the start, and then they're always way easier than I thought they would be.
Did you take stock over?
Yeah, heaps.
Was that scary? Like the notion of we could fly all this stock over and we may not sell it and we'll need to bring it back?
Yeah. Like for the first one in Miami, we had to fly over suitcases full. So it was scary in the terms of when we lost a suitcase on the way over, and each suitcase has about $100,000 of hair in it. So they found it, but that was scary. You know what I mean? Just you could lose a big chunk of your business in one lost suitcase. So little things like that. Do you know what I mean? The tides could change quite quickly.
Yeah, it's so funny. I had this little vision of people at the airport. You know how they're collecting their suitcase from the carousel, and it's like you never know what's in someone's suitcase. It's like you've got all these wigs. How many staff do you have now? Because when you started, it was you, and then you brought your husband in. What does business look like now? Like, how big's the team?
So to start with, it was just me, and then I had Stephen, who's still with me, and it's funny, he actually used to own the space I'm in now. He's a hairdresser. He was there for 10 years. And one day, because I'm not a stylist, I can't cut, I can't color, I can't style hair to actually save my life. So one day I just popped in there and I was like, hi, I live up the road and I've got these 2 wigs. Any chance you'd be interested in? I'd been to a couple of other places before with my own wigs and said, can you cut this? And they're like, oh, no, we don't know how to cut wigs. We don't want to ruin it. So I'd sort of shovel them back in my bag, all embarrassed, and sneak away. So I popped into his salon and he was just like, oh my God, my dream just walked through the door. Like, are you joking? I was just like, so it was just, I'm quite big on manifestation and universe aligning. So he is 2 houses down from me, dreams of working with wigs, and I just pop in. So he was then doing the cutting and the coloring and the styling, and we worked like that. But the turnaround was so slow. Like if I have 10 wigs and it takes him this long to color and cut, it was taking and he's got his own life, this was sort of a side thing for him in his own salon. So then we got actually a Japanese guy, and he spoke no English. And he applied, I thought it was actually a girl on Facebook, and said, I could do the styling for you. Because I was like, look, I've got 50 wigs. They need styling. They need to go out. And he had a little girl picture on his thing. And he turns up, and he must have been Googling, translating. And he turns up, no English. And I was like, okay, so how is this going to work, And my husband was like, babe, I came to this country and people were like, don't give the guy a job because his name's we can't pronounce his last name. He was like, just give him a go. He just has a style, doesn't he? Me and my husband out the back of the shop at this stage. And this guy's standing here. And then he's like, just what could go wrong? And then I was like, yeah, why not? Actually, why not? He doesn't have to talk to anyone. He doesn't have to talk to the wigs. So I was just like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're in. And he was just like, I'm in. And then I was like, here's the styling tools. And he was a machine. Like, he was incredible. He's still with us. But it was just an eye-opener about the right people sort of pop in and just saying yes, I guess. We've got 3 stylists full-time working at the shop. So they do colouring, cutting, styling, and consultations with people. And then we've got 3 sort of part-time in the Miami store. Then we've got me and my husband. Then we've still got Stephen, who does sort of contract colouring work. And then we've got a girl who, she actually used to be our nanny, Maria. She still helps with kids. She's from Brazil. And yeah, we trained her to be a hairdresser. She's now a qualified hairdresser. And she does everything, just a bit of everything.
Is that 10? Was that 10 people?
6, yeah, about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that you would have like a team of 10 when you started this selling on the marketplace?
No, I didn't even think it was a business. Like, it was just, and if I did, I thought I might have, I don't know, 1 stylist, maybe have a stylist, and that would be all. So 10, yeah.
How big do you think it's going to get?
Oh, I honestly feel like I am so here, like so here. Like if I look at Give Good Emails, for example, I look at my emails, how much more attention they could get. And do you know what I mean? I think that was a big driver actually, is when I sort of looked at emails, it was, I could get revenue from emails. Do you know what I mean? And then I realized actually these people have already found me. They want to hear from me. How easy that could be just to, do you know what? This is what we have in stock. If you're interested, come and have a look. This is how things are made. This is what we do. And it just opened a whole new world that's just emails. And then there could also be a physical shop. And then there could also be online consultation. Do you know what I mean? Like there was just so many. And if I look at where I am in business, my Facebook ads is like, yeah, like we pay someone to do that. I want to take over that, and Roberto too, because really every time I've done an agency sort of thing, they don't care about the business. They don't know the business. They don't understand the business. They don't understand the clients. They just, I see my ads come up sometimes. I'm like, that. One of my ads was saying hair loss, ain't no one got time for that. I thought, oh, I would never say ain't no one got time for hair loss. Like it's so impersonal and unthoughtful and bad English. So, if you pay someone to do things and it's just not there, but then finding the time to also learn SEO, Facebook ads, Instagram. I've always been good at Instagram. I found that the easiest. You just say, hi, here I am. Here's the silly reel. This is what I do. And I found that easy. Whereas learning about how metrics, Facebook ads work, I just haven't had the time for it. Our emails could do with a big overhaul, actually. Do you know what I mean? I've actually just started Give Good Email again.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now that I understand things more, it's really good to go back.
Yeah. I'm giving it it's getting a little facelift at the moment.
Oh, it doesn't need
exactly.
When I look, I've done other courses and I just found it was always a sales for another course, or they never actually gave you tangible. I'm a tangible. Give me the steps. Like, I listen to a podcast and they're, going on about something else. I listen to business podcasts and I want it to be do this, do this, do this, do this. I'm just like, okay, so now what do I do? What do I do? And your course is exactly that. It's just, this is the type of person you are. Go and do this.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because when I created Give Good Email, people were like, oh, you should have it in stages where there's beginner and then sell them something else. And then, oh, don't have lifetime, sell them something else. And I was like, I don't want to do that because I was the person that really struggled to find good advice. And I feel like that people were really good at marketing money. So they would market like, oh, I'm a millionaire. But then they really had no substance. They were basically teaching you like, it's like I was buying in on their success, but they really had nothing to teach except marketing that success. And it's funny because I get advice all the time of people saying, this is what you should do with the program. And I'm like, yeah, but you haven't had a small business, or you haven't had a business that's e-commerce where you have to have a big startup, or you've had like with the studio, my rent was like 40 grand a year just to own that shell. And I think if people haven't had that understanding of that much money on the line, it's like, I want to make sure that I'm giving people something that they can afford where it's so valuable because yeah, it's unfortunately a thing in the online space, isn't it? But you've done so well to think this started as maternity leave side hustle is now an international business that supports 10 staff, and you've done this around having a family is so incredible.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people say that to me, like people from school, they're like, oh my God, I see you online all the time. Or people come into my shop and they're like, oh, I feel like I know you. I'd like in a photo with you. And it's just so weird because it doesn't feel successful. Do you know what I mean? It feels nice. It feels like I've helped a lot of people. And it feels like I get to work along my husband. You know, we get up and go to the gym together. He set up this space outside, so he likes to work out in the garden, and I can see him through the window. It feels like fun at the shop with my team. It doesn't feel like I'm the boss. It just feels like a fun place. So there's no sort of feeling of it being big. It still feels so small. It still feels like, oh, I've just got my little shop up there. You know, my kids they'll probably pop in a minute. They're trying to bang on the door. They're around. You know, I've usually got kids on the knee. It still feels messy, and it definitely doesn't feel professional. Like me and my husband constantly looking at the website, like, I hate my website. And then we see our competitors who are doing something big. Do you know what I mean? They have these big collaborations with someone, or they've just launched a new website and it's all fabulous in this. And we're like, hey, look at our website. Have you seen the search bar? It looks so bad. Have you seen our photo? Like, we've just redone all of our product photos because at the moment, they're me. Like, I had to do what I had to do. You know, my husband's like, why don't we do a big photo shoot and do new product photos? And I was like, yeah, I don't have time to do that. I'll just keep doing what we're doing and it's fine. It's working. So I think, yeah, sometimes it is just messy. And from the front end, people think it looks like, people might look at my business and think, oh, well, you know, what a professional brand. In the back end, it's like, oh no, I need to do a live on a Friday. I haven't done one this week. I'm in my gym gear. Quite often I'm in my gym gear, like, sorry about the gym gear, guys, but I didn't want to let you down. I said I'd do a live, so I'm doing it. And it's just, we don't know systems. We don't know, you know, we don't know a lot of things about running the business. But
you're learning and you're doing it. You're going to have a big year next year.
Yeah, I can feel it already.
Yeah, it's exciting.
We're so here with where we are. Like, where we could be. It's really exciting to see that, but it's just getting out of the weeds. Like, probably any new e-commerce business is, so it's hard to actually work on the business when you're so stuck in the business.
Well, I think you are being hard on yourself because you are doing so well. You are doing so. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for this chat today. I bet like in like 2 years' time, someone will message you about this podcast and you'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe all the stuff I said on there now. 10 staff, I've got like 50. It's happening. Yeah. I was going to say, where can people find you? Like, where is the best place for them to connect with your content and see all the wonderful things that you do?
Instagram would be the main place. Like, I'm always on there. I reply personally, DMs on there. And that's Goldie Lost here, all one word. I do have TikTok too. TikTok's another beast. I don't post as much on there. I know I should, but I really love the community on Instagram. I have a Facebook page, Goldie Lost Hair. I have a support group if you are a wig wearer, have hair loss, things like that, and you just want an actual private support group. I have a Facebook group called Goldie Lost Support. Otherwise, go check our website, GoldyLost.com. We do free consults. You can come and meet us in person, or we do video if you're anywhere else in the world.
I love that. I was going to say, on the end of every podcast, I do something and it's so silly. I will say things like, I love you more than, and it will be something random that I'm loving. It doesn't have to be random, but it could be like, it's a beautiful day outside. So I'm like, I love you more than like the beautiful weather, or I love you more than my lipstick, or I love you more than the fact I'm actually renovating at the moment. And my builder has just messaged me. He is so good at communication. So you've got to pick 3 things. I feel like I've blindsided you with it.
Yeah. Okay. So I love who? I love you?
No, like you. You're like, just like, I love you more than, and then it's like my lipstick or like whatever. Just 3. So you got to pick 3 things that you love, that you're loving right now. It can be anything that you want in the world.
Okay. I love you more than, okay, this is a really lame one, but I love you more than ice cream.
What kind of ice cream?
Chocolate. Very boring. Cow and Moon or Messina is the current phase, but my husband's away and he's the health freak. So me and my kids are getting ice cream every single day. Like, every single day. In fact, they'll be waiting out there like, Mum, we're eating ice cream today. And I'm like, we sure are. Okay, so I love you more than chocolate ice cream. It's going to be Cow and Moon because it's slightly better than Messina. I love you more than, I'm totally into these at the moment, matchy suits.
Oh, I love that.
Like matchy.
Right.
Totally into matchy, sort of almost like pajamas, but still looks a little bit businessy. And I love you more than manifestation. I'm so
I love that.
manifestation at the moment. I'm reading Amanda Francis's Rich as Fuck book again. If you
Love
haven't
her.
read it,
Yeah.
love her. I've read a lot of manifestation books, and then I've done a lot of podcasts. And honestly, every time I do hers, I just started reading it 2 days ago. And within like 2 days, all these things are happening. And it was exactly the same last time I did her work. Like just ridiculous stuff happened within like 2 days. So I don't know why hers is different, but every time I go back to it, I believe in it again. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes like, really? And then I read like one of her pages and then I'm like, oh, this just happened. So yeah, I love you with an imposition.
I love that. They're perfect.
Oh, thanks.
They're perfect. Well, Clementine, hot stuff. Thank you for spending your afternoon with me. I loved this.
My pleasure.
I guess let's leave it there. Hotties, I will see you on the next episode. Clementine, hopefully I get to see you in a GG call soon. Otherwise, I'll see you on
You will.
Instagram.
Definitely will. Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.